Welcome to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm John White. With me today is Dr. Bob Bavacqua. Bob is the commercial vegetable specialist with the Extension Service here at New Mexico State, and we're going to be talking about pumpkins. So welcome, Bob.
Well, thank you, John.
We have quite a planting of pumpkins here. Tell us a little bit about why we're here and what this test has to do.
What you see before you is a pumpkin variety trial where we're evaluating 8 different kinds of pumpkins to see which is the best for commercial farmers in New Mexico.
Okay. And you have replicated plots here?
Yes, we have the 8 varieties replicated 5 times. That's to build our confidence in our results.
Okay. And this is a part of a statewide program?
Yes, we have 20 extension agents throughout the state cooperating with us, and for them it's a more informal thing. Many of them are doing it through master gardeners or with 4-H clubs or in or after school programs or with cooperating commercial farmers.
Okay. Bob, let's go take a look at a pumpkin here and see what some of the good aspects are on it.
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Bob, here's a pumpkin. Can we give some tips to consumers if they're going into a store or in a field to pick a pumpkin? What kind of things do they want to look for?
John, thank you. I'm happy to help you. There's 4 important things that consumers are looking for. First and most important is a uniform gold color or orange color throughout the fruit. Secondly, they're looking for an upright shape. And this is important because in the field, pumpkins grow on their side. Then after they're harvested, they make a transition to being used on their end. So they have to have a stable bottom, so they make a good platform. Thirdly, they got to have a nice strong stem, which is used as a handle. And fourthly, a weight in the range of 16 to 24 pounds.
Okay. When we're looking at the skin of the pumpkin, the outside shell here, we want to make sure that it is uniform hardness. There's no soft spots on it.
Good point. Yes, that it's good to feel it for uniform firmness. Any soft spots would be dangerous points, and that would be a pumpkin to avoid. And similarly, if the stem displays any softness, not to buy that fruit.
Okay. And then our blossom end here, we do want to check it also for softness.
Yes.
Feeling around it, so that way we can pick a... How long will a pumpkin last after it's been harvested? What's our shelf life, and what kind of conditions do we need to keep it going?
In sheltered conditions, like in shade, where there's a breeze and the air circulates and they're up off the ground a little, the wet soil is their enemy, they'll keep for several months. For example, it's pretty common for a pumpkin to last till Christmas or the holiday season.
Okay. As far as characteristics, I guess some people like pumpkins that have maybe a little bit of an odd shape. They can make different faces out of them and stuff, but thanks for the tips on it.
Okay, you're welcome, John.
Let's take a look at some varieties now.
Okay.
Bob, a home grower or a commercial vegetable producer that would like to grow pumpkins, what are some of the better varieties that you've seen in your test?
We have 3 excellent ones here that I'd like to describe to you, but first I want to explain that pumpkins have a long history in the United States. Their use dates back to when the Indians helped the colonists in Massachusetts prepare for the first Thanksgiving holiday. And for many years, those same varieties were grown. But now there's been genetic advances in the breeding of pumpkins, and we have 2 of those here. They're new, high-yielding hybrids that are resistant to the worst disease for pumpkins, powdery mildew, and we have them here, Magic Lantern and Merlin, and they're the 2 very best ones in our trials. A third one is Appalachian, named after the area in the eastern United States, which is an open pollinated or a regular type, more a traditional pumpkin, but also very high yielding. So these are the 3 that we would recommend for southern New Mexico.
Bob, are you going to have published reports on your variety trial?
Yes, that we'll be preparing an extension fact sheet that summarizes the results of our variety trial here and with a very clear conclusion as to what varieties we recommend growers to purchase in this area.
Okay. Have you seen some variety differences across the state as far as dates of harvest, and are there varieties that are looking better in certain areas?
I'm new to New Mexico, and I'm learning the dramatic differences in the environmental zones here. In southern New Mexico, where you have high temperatures and high solar radiation, the pumpkins ripen or have a much shorter growing season than they would, say, in Massachusetts, where they were first developed. There it might take 120 days for a fruit to mature and ripen, and here it might take 60 days, so half the time.
Okay. Bob, do you have some tips for consumers as far as if they want to grow their own pumpkins? What kind of things are we going to see as maybe problems, and what kind of things they need to look out for?
Pumpkins are relatively easy to grow, so I'm encouraging about that part. And two, you need a fair amount of space that they can sprawl the vines. And thirdly, you have to be vigilant for squash bugs, which is a relatively common insect in the gardens in southern New Mexico. And secondly, a disease called powdery mildew, which is an important, and this is powdery mildew probably here. And that's an important advantage of the newer varieties like Magic Lantern and Merlin, is they're resistant to this, and you don't have so much to worry about in diseases.
Okay. Well, Bob, thank you for being on Southwest Yard and Garden. Our guest today has been Dr. Bob Bavacqua, Extension Vegetable Specialist.